Amazing, amazing. Okay. Well, welcome to the YAAYYOU Toast. I'm Marcella Precise, as you know. I created the YAAYYOU brand because I feel like it all starts inside with the words you say to yourself. So, along that chain of different things I get to do and how I get to enjoy people and, give back, there was a creation of the YAAYYOU Blogazine, the YAAYYOU Notes to Self Affirmation album, and the YAAYYOU Cup so that you can keep your cup full. You can toast to yourself, you can toast to your friends and your family, but you'll always be replenishing your life with your thoughts and how you want things to be. And you, Nicole Duncan Smith, I am so grateful to toast to you today. I think that you are amazing. You really, really light up all the rooms you walk in. Even before you get there, your spirit and your energy is in there. And I think that every moment with you here is a purposeful moment because you do so many things for so many people. Oh my God. I can't even mention all the stuff you've done, all the pivotal, amazing things you've done in the music business and charitable efforts. Like your time here has been well spent and also shared. Some might say overshared because you give so much. And I just want to toast to you, Miss Journalist, Reverend, Mommy, Supermodel, MC, know how to find who's nice and who's not. I just want to toast to you. I just want to toast to your brilliance. So this is for you.
Yes, we're family. Like my first Christmas tree as a married woman, you guys took me to go get it. We were all looking for the same type.
I remember. Oh my God.
Blue, was it a blue pine tree we looking for? At home, we ain't gonna tell you where our spot was, but we used to get the ill trees. And I just appreciate you guys for just being who you guys are. So yay you.
Oh my God. Wow. You're trying to make me cry. I'm not crying. I was totally not expecting any of that. Oh my goodness. I came here to toast you and let the world know you're amazing and let them continue to see it because they see it already. And you gave me some of that.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, you can't be amazing and not be around fly people, right? Your circle's supposed to be like anything you give to me automatically should be a reflection back. So I'm dope because you're dope. Like we surround ourselves with dope people, and occasionally a couple cornballs might creep in, but you know what? The dope energy gets them up out of there. So we are blessed. It's so funny. I have I mentor all kinds of like people. I pick up folk, right? My mom used to call it, like back in the day, you just pick up strays. I just be picking up folk. And the young brother hit me up today and he was just like, now mind you, we had this deep conversation because he gossipy, right? He loved social media. He loved a little gossip. He a young person, like in his 20s. And he called me and was like, the girl that he met was messing with this entertainer, celebrity, influencer, whatever. And the girl, because he was talking to the girl, and the girl told him that the guy was this and wasn't really nothing, but it was. And then recently, the girl, like over the last couple of days, the girl put out all the celebrity's business online, and he says, "You literally just was talking to me about this, but I need to make sure my circle is tight because there will be people who will try and tap into my energy and might exploit it." And he's like, and I see that because what if I had to let her in the circle like this other guy did? My business could have been out there. And it sounds like, wow, that's far-fetched and that's crazy. But that is how precious energy is. And that's why your circle has to be legit and official, because it just takes one person who has a bad day and they can
ruin. They gotta either spill the beans or make up some beans or something. Oh my goodness.
And that's it. The beans don't even have to be real. And all they gotta have a bad day, and they can chip away at, at your empire, right? But that's why your characters should be impeccable, or at least what the public facing it should be impeccable, because we're all human, so we're flawed, right?
Absolutely.
But it should be in a way that that even if something sideways comes up, they're gonna be like, not her, So that's what grace and
they're
favor
gonna have your back. They're gonna have your back.
So that's one of the lessons that kind of came for a full circle. I remember Deanna Williams gave me that when I was 19. And so to be able to pass that on to somebody and they give it back to me, it just shows that
you're in the right place at the right time. And you're doing your service. You're in service to God. You're in service to what you're supposed to be doing here. And you do it so gracefully. It's so natural. It's so normal. And I was absolutely going to ask you a question about the Urban Rap League and all the amazing artists and the young people that you mentor. And I absolutely was going to ask you, has it ever come back around where someone appreciated something that you gave them, some insight and how they
Well,
felt?
I work with the Ultimate Rap League, and the owner of the Ultimate Rap League is Smack White. So Smack White used to do the Smack DVDs. So when you look at like hip hop media, right, it's more than just journalism. Like hip hop media start with Uncle Ralph.
Yes.
And Uncle Ralph had Video Music Box, and then maybe 5 years later was The Source, which was the hip hop magazine. But what Smack DVD did was that when the world was starting to shift from reading a bunch of stuff, he would put out DVDs as a magazine form, and
So,
that was exactly how he started to like pop off. All of a sudden, it was the early Kanye. All of a sudden, it was early Beans, early Jadakiss, and he just has them all. So at a certain point, in his career, he started to notice that the battle rap portion of his DVDs were getting more attention than the interviews, and the interviews were becoming faulty because social media started to pop up, and then all of a sudden you would get an artist, and by the time you put the DVD out, the artist is already on the radios talking whatever that is, or on their own social media. So there was no need for this stagnant media. So now he said, okay, well, let me isolate. He was able to pivot, isolate, and now it's a multi-million-dollar business with Caffeine, which is our streaming partner. They launched with the promise of battle rap, and they raised in their first round of funding $114 million to market, not to produce, to market the battle rap.
I remember I have knowledge of you traveling, actually going to these spaces. Like it is a business, but you knew how to tap into the emotions of the people and, discuss what's important to them because they're human as well, even though they're a part of that league and everything. And so I just find that to just be so commendable that you guys took care of every space and you brought it into a new space for people to see. And, you're going to get new viewers and people that are being exposed to it. It's like, wow, this is really cool. This is really dope. It's almost like that saying where they say you have everything you need already.
Yep.
You you just have
and
to.
It's funny because it's two things, and I don't want to just jump into them, but it's so important.
It's okay.
This year, I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, which is a form of blood cancer, right?
Yes.
And so while I was, diagnosed with this form of blood cancer, and of course, you got to let the guys know what's going on because I have doctor appointments and I'm fine. Be clear, I'm fine. But when I tell you these young brothers, they because I'm an auntie now. I'm no longer the young girl, little Nikki. I'm still little Nikki, but I'm not little Nikki from 97, 98, 99, 2000. Little Nikki running around with Russell. I'm an old kid now. And the way they make sure that if we're traveling, who got Nikki?
Right.
Were you? No, you eating with us.
Right.
Or
community. It's so important. Like someone's checking on the person that checks on the people. You understand?
And so it is a way that I feel. First of all, I love this space because it reminds me of hip hop in the 90s. That era, right? And I know that people like to call that the golden era. It's not the golden era. The golden era, what it was really like, 80s, 86 to 90, maybe 90.
Right.
If Rakim's not in your golden era, then don't talk to me. Right?
What era
this
we
is the
era.
This is the era right
your
after
era
that.
on if Rakim's not in your era.
If Kane's not in your era, if we're not talking about the early Heavy D, all the way Love in the House, if that's not there, if Salt and Pepper, Express Yourself is not in your, or Trance, if that's not there, we don't got the same. You can't talk.
Kwame, the rhythm.
The rhythm, right? If you can't say, I came here for something funky to happen, you don't know. So don't talk to me. But that's era right after that, right? Maybe it's the platinum era. It's the getting jiggy with it era. Whatever that was, when we started to pop, and it was a little bit of money around. That's what this part of battle rap is like for me. And so to remember how it would be, like if I was at How Can I Be Down and I needed a ride to somebody and Mad Skills would be like, nah, you can't, if she ain't got, if we ain't going, if Nikki ain't in the car with us, we ain't going. If it's like that.
Or that's Jack the Rapper with Q-Tip and Lord Jamal and all of them. Like,
How Can I Be Down, Jack the Rapper, I Am, Impact, Gavin. We could go down, but there was community. We all knew each other. I mean, I it's so funny. Like Q-Tip is Zulu Nation. Like I'm like we really was like on some wherever we are is where we are, right?
Right.
And so I look at hip hop because I still am a journalist covering it, and it doesn't seem to me.
It's all across the globe, and you're there to see these bonds. Like that. That's so amazing to me.
And to organically watch it without trying to tamper with it. I think when we abandon the notion that it's us against them and try and see where we can make them better, we can give them tools that they didn't give us. And they didn't give us because there was a generation above us that, you know, either they was embarrassed that we didn't do it their way, or they were so wrapped up in a system that was designed to keep them oppressed. You know, we ain't gonna act like crack out here by some black folk, like, you know. And we remember, we all were kids remembering when parents who were lawyers were coming home and all of a sudden they was, you know, on the corner buying rock. Like we know that a whole generation of people got wiped out. And so look, we got tools that if we weren't so anti-young people, that we could pass it on.
People that are anti-young people?
Yes. Oh. Every time you hear somebody say, oh, that's just mumble rap, that's anti-young people. Okay. Because that's a youthful form of expression. If you listen to what Migos are doing, they're doing, and they like the champions of the battle rap, I mean not the mumble rap stuff, they were doing triplets in ways, they're talking about things in ways that we're not getting because it's a different style of lyricism than what we do.
I've always liked the Migos.
I use them as an example, but we know that there's a lot of mumble rappers.
I think they're awesome. And I really love Gucci Mane. Like, it's so many people. I was listening to Uzi Vert the other day. It's so many people that just have so much to say. And then when you see their art, when they give you a visual, you're like, okay, now I'm into it. Like, I think, like I said, music just brings so many people together, and how you get it and what you gravitate towards, it's still going to bring you together with someone. Because when all of us seem to be finding other people to listen to this good music with, and
it
rolls into R&B, it rolls into pop, it rolls into rock. And I think it's so cool when I hear people just kind of pulling things back in that we heard before. Like when you hear a song and you're like, oh, this is so cool. There's an artist named, when she first came out, her name is Danny Lay. And she used the sample for Miss Fat Booty, whatever Mos Def used for her first single. I thought that was so genius. I was like, oh,
shout out to her, young woman.
And it just felt like, you know, oh, she's coming. Like, I instantly felt like, oh, she's coming. She's going to be bringing us the stuff. And of course, you know, Danny Lay has all this amazing music that she put out afterwards. But that first song, it just felt like, who did this? Like, who's the producer? And then I started looking up, who did this? Who wrote what? You know, because coming from
you have a different ear, mama. You got a different ear because you're a producer.
Because I'm a songwriter and a producer. So
right.
Everything
who
did this? I love it.
My beseeching is always to the folk who think their time is best.
I don't know.
You know?
Okay.
Who think that my era was better than your era. Like, they ain't really rapping like we was rapping. Like, you know, like,
oh, you find that a lot, huh?
And yes, and then I read it because I read reviews,
right?
And it's like that's part of my job is to see.
Right. And you're at so many places. You're like from the source to allhiphop.com and then doing. So
there's a lack of desire, and it's not just music is an easy token to look at, but there's always a disconnect between an older generation and a younger generation. There have to be people like us. Like I see the work that you guys do with Ryan, or the girl, is her name Nicole Michelle?
She has you and your sister's name.
Come on.
We work with so many awesome people. I'm going to take this time to shout out Pink Noise, Cali Pop, Ryan Lane, Nicole Michelle, Freshco. Oh my God, such talented people, and they are doing what they have to do to get their art out. They're building their art as they go along. It's less judgment when you're in the spaces with us. And it just feels so good to see people say, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to sound. And just to be in someone's presence that feels so lively and strongly about their art, about their music is really, really cool. So I just wanted to.
I got somebody I want you to check out. Okay. And she's bubbling. Like, she's the Brooklyn chick for me right now. Her name is Lola Brooks. And I like her even though, she's a little taller than me. She's 4'10".
She's a little bit.
She's a quarter of an inch taller than me. She's 4'10". But when I tell you, she went to Boys and Girls High School. When I tell you, as an MC, she started as a poet.
Okay.
And then she started. When I tell you, she's so fire, and she's kind of she's not really she knows she can do the drill thing, not really, but she's Like, her big song is a drill song, but she does other things.
Mhm.
And that girl is Brooklyn right now.
Absolutely.
She's carrying, like, for the ladies, I
Mhm.
think she's carrying Brooklyn right now. So there's some
Absolutely.
other
I know
some
she
girls.
is. I know she is. Shout out to her. Oh, toast to her.
Toaster Lola
Toast to
Brooks.
her because I know she's amazing. That is so cool. I love that you
And
see.
wait, and I don't have no connection to her other than the fact I interviewed her once or so, and I saw her at a versus thing once. But other than that, like, I don't know her. I just was like, that girl is fire. Like, her
But
rhyme ability.
you have so much grace and so much patience and you see things even when you're in it. You know how to step back and see things, and I have to applaud you on being able to do that for so many people because you wear so many hats. And I want to talk to you about something else. You know, our thoughts grow actions, so it's a lot of things that we get involved in because of how we think. It's going to turn into something, whether we do it or someone else is getting that energy. But it's, you know, our thoughts grow actions. And I just want to know what you were thinking. I have three things I want to ask you, and I want to know what you felt like. What was, you know, what were you thinking in the midst of it? If you can remember, if you can, you know, articulate that. So what were you thinking? This is the first thing. When you worked closely with Russell Simmons, what were you thinking? Now, mind you, this is Russell Simmons.
It depends on what time. When I first worked with Russell,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's a hilarious story. Like, the first time I'm really working with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were working with Al Sharpton, Martin Luther King III, and Russell. So Russell has seen me in the office, you know, because I was working for his .com. They eventually sold to BT, but, you know, so I'm kind of in the office, whatever. You don't really know me, but I get placed in this project. We were doing a Redeem the Dream March, which was like a version of, you know, the Million Man March or something like that, right? And he goes, and I just had, so I was nursing, and I'm all excited because Martin Luther King III, his dad went to Morehouse. So I'm like, I'm going to make a big impression because Russell don't really know the Black college folk, the fraternity sororities, that space. He knows hip hop space. So I'm going to be the person there. And I get so excited giving my spiel. I start lactating in the meeting.
Okay. That's your first.
In front of
That's the first
Russell.
time you met him?
It's not the first. It's the first time I had to work with him.
Oh, okay.
So, because I worked for him, he would come in, but he saw me. He never really had no real conversation with me. I'm in here, and all of a sudden, it's just, and Most Def is there. And Most says, "Hey, Nikki, you need a t-shirt." I look down, and all of them, bless their hearts, was acting like they didn't even notice that I was dripping with milk from my boobies. And he was just like, what I appreciate from you, Nikki, is that you just kept doing it. Like, you just kept going. You didn't let that one thing skip a beat. And when I tell you that that's my memory of Russell, that Russell just working with him and even being his friend now, it's always a level of, you can do this. He'll tell people, like, I got smart people in the room working with me, smarter than me. Like, stuff like that just make me feel good about what I'm doing and who I am to him in his space, in that space. So
isn't that awesome? When you can be around people that you know are going to mention to you directly that you're excellent, you know that when they walk away, they're mentioning to someone else that you're excellent. You don't ever have to feel like they're not even mentioning.
Or he's saying I'm crazy, but
like,
at least in front of me.
But you know, it's still the same thing because you have camaraderie and it's like a family. I remember, I feel like I met him with you when I went up to the office one time, and I felt like, oh, this is family. He treats her like family. So that was so
And
sweet.
he still treats me like I got fired from a place, right? For standing up for MC. That I was like, y'all not about to lie on this man, right? And I didn't have to do a bunch, but it was clearly somebody was lying about him. Came out that they were lying about him. But social media, when you want to cancel somebody and it goes like this, it's kind of hard to stop it. And it takes courageous people to say,
that's not true.
Let's look at it some different. I'm not saying he's right, but he ain't do that, right? And so I called Russell. At first I was like, Russell, they beating up on me. I think they're gonna try and do this and do that. And he goes, they ain't gonna do nothing, Nicole. Da 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 da. You don't know what it's like. And I was like, all right,
not Nicole. He gave you the
whatever.
Said,
and the next day they fired me. And I was like, Russell. And it literally was like early in the morning. It was like maybe like 7 o'clock my time. Russell, they fired me. And he said, they did what? They fired me. And don't you know, Russell called me FaceTime and was like, what do you need? He said, what do you need? And who do I need to just kind of like shut down? And I was like, you don't need to shut down nobody. It's the idea that you would shut somebody down matters to me.
Oh, that's
So
beautiful.
he was
I
ready.
love that.
He about to
Big
jump
up
out
to
there.
him. Big up to him. Big up to him. Okay,
Big up to him.
my next one. You're an advisory board member, special projects producer for the Universal Hip Hop Museum, which is super, super dope. That's really dope. The fact that the museum even exists is in our lifetime, like that's so important. You know, it's a place you can go to learn things. It's a place you can go to see what you thought you knew was true. It's a place you can go see, oh wow, I didn't know that that's how that happened. And oh, you have his hat. Oh, you have his rhyme book and
Yep.
and things that are just so important. So important to the culture. And I wanted to know how you feel about being so close to things that are really no fluff, really important to the culture by
like a kid in a candy store.
I'm sorry?
Like a kid in a candy store.
Oh.
I mean, the idea that that I could be so, and so me and you go through this all the time. You know, I'm a Rakim person, and so you know that there's a you'd be like, yo, Eli.
Yes.
So Eli is an engineer. Eli Tuba is an actual engineer.
Okay. Yeah.
And I worked with him to create. When you go to the exhibition now, I did the playlist. Like I came up with the songs, and he was the engineer that hooked it up. And so when you walk in, you hear the music I pulled from somebody that is, when you understand what an engineer is and how important a song, like paid him full, yo. He engineered, paid him full. The fact that he's like, he did my playlist and
that's
made it.
That's
like,
it. You up there with Rakim.
Like that's like the fact that I could call Matt, Rakim's manager. On the yo Matt, this is what I'm doing.
Crazy.
And he like, yeah. Crazy. And I can show up and Rakim be like, Nikki, Rakim, the God MC. Like the same way that he came and spoke to my sorority. Yes. He came and spoke to my sorority. And he was like, yeah, I wrote Mahogany because of you. Now, granted, we know that Mahogany is about Asiatic, white-looking chick. But the fact that he said it made me be like, hey, y'all, eat my dust. So being associated with the Universal Hip Hop Museum and being able to help put together and pull together and curate the preservation of our culture is everything to me. And the deep part about this is when I was in college, that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to start the first hip hop museum. That was my goal as a sophomore in college. So the idea, I'm not starting it, but the fact that I'm a part of it just is like, God, thank you. God just kind of heard my prayer.
He hears us.
He hears us. He hears, and he hears us because God lives within us. So there are things I would never utter, but God knows the desires of my heart.
He knows.
He knows. She knows.
And I tell people that all the time. I tell them, you just have to stay steady the course because it's in you. If you thought of it, if you saw it in some sort of form, whether it's just you alone, it's real. It's already there. And the fact that it was coming through you for you to be where you are, like that's so beautiful.
And my favorite thing that I've done with them, was doing the tribute for Chris Lighty. And having Buster and Fat Joe and Light from Tribe and Dress from Black Sheep and Chi Ali and the original Violator guys all kind of come together and talk about Nana and Ashurst to talk about what it was like for baby Chris to come from being a bodyguard for Native Tongue to being a manager. That right there, because of the way that he transitioned and how difficult it was for me as his friend, but also for people who were intimately involved. Then his daughter was there and his son was there and his brothers and D Nice was trying to log in and he couldn't get in. Like the idea that so many people energetically was like, we can't forget. And so for me, the Universal Hip Hop Museum is a place. It's not just going to be for the Laurens and the Jay-Z's and the Missies and the Kims and the Nicki Minaj's. It's going to be, lest we forget those people. Like one of the battle rappers came to do something, right? To just kind of do an interview there and walk through. And to see his eyes wide, and he never saw LL Cool J Troop Jacket before. And he was like, then he saw a contract, a writer in a contract. Rakim and Eric B. $4,000, $5,000, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy doesn't move unless a league pays him 25 to however much he can get, but no lower than 25 to battle for 9 minutes. But Rakim and Eric B did these things for $5,000, and they were excited about it. And he said that he was like, this keeps me humble because I stand on their shoulders. And he's like, and I would never know that this is what, he was like, this is Biz Markie's rhyme book. This is what he wrote, right?
Life changing. Life
changing. Life put things in perspective. So that's why I go on to, it's important for generations to hip hop to really be intra-generational. That's why Nas is so special, because Nas has you can look at his body of work as of the last 5 years, and he has young people. He got a producer that's a young person, and all he wants to do is he'll give old themes with new energy. And that's how
I've never been to the museum. I am.
You gotta go.
You sound like the tour guide. You sound like
there's a pop-up. There's a pop-up now, and I'll make sure that whenever you guys want to go, I mean, it's in the Bronx, so it's a troop.
I want to go with you though when I go.
I mean, I'll definitely go. I just the Bronx is far. I also I'm a coach here for New York Speaks, which was an advisory committee or board for the new mayor, Eric Adams.
Yes.
And I was a co-chair for arts and culture.
Which is what I was going to ask you third. What were you feeling and thinking when you got involved with that?
I was honored because this is New York.
Mm-hmm.
I also fought a lot for two spaces. One, hip hop has to be legitimized in these conversations. You can't get up there and be like, I'm the hip hop this and hip hop that. And then when it comes down to the dispensement of dollars, right? And it's not just to the museum, because the museum is sexy. But I need for there to be studios in Brooklyn. There need to be studios in the Bronx. There need to be studios that kids can have access to, so they can learn the details. Because to me, that's a part of hip hop. There needs to be dance programs.
Yes. Because dancing is what we all started with as children. Like the music was so seriously within my body. Like everything. Overweight Lovers in the House. Eric B for President. Booming System. There was so many songs. The Beast.
Or even art, because graffiti is the first element.
That was something that I think I saw in a movie. I didn't really experience it.
So in the timeline of hip-hop history,
it was for you to say that they should have programs that do that. I love that. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, and of course the music for me starts the core of all of this is the DJ, right? So we know that the recognized birthday for hip hop is August the 11th, 1973, and that Kool Herc did this party. But Cornbread and them, like the graffiti artists, started in the 60s.
Yes, right? I know that.
And so then you got the dancers are actually, b-boying comes out of gang culture. Yes. So each gang kind of had their own dance.
I remember that, yeah.
And so then it was like, okay, so instead of y'all fighting, y'all battle. And before they was battling with rhymes, they were battling with dancing.
But I can't help but think that the music has something to do with the dance.
Absolutely. I mean, it depends.
Can you imagine
they were dancing on a breakbeat? They was dancing on a breakbeat.
Right.
So, but this is the thing. Before it wasn't hip hop, they still
did that.
Fight. So what we got all of these different fragments and put them together and said, this is how we're going to form culture. Yeah. This is how we're going to. So they all were kind of independently doing their thing. I was talking to my sisters about growing up in the 70s and them taking us to block parties. Mm-hmm. We wasn't listening to rap music at the time. You know what we was listening to? Mm-hmm. I just want to be what you want me to be. We was listening to Cameo. We was listening to Heat Wave. We was listening to Let You Take Me To Funk It Down.
Do you remember? I remember being a little person hearing Dollar Bill, y'all, Dollar Bill, y'all. But it was just like the pulse. Like it could have easily been an R&B record. The pulse of the music was something that you remembered as a kid, and it almost wasn't. It was like new to us, so it almost wasn't our music. It was a lot of bridge music happening, like the dance music on the Spanish stations, and
Well, I'm from Philly, so my experience is different.
Right, but it was just
so in New York, I know that there was a different cultural mix going on here. Mm-hmm. That you guys are fortunate because I didn't grow up with a bunch of Hispanic people.
Yeah, and we had
or
funk
hearing it.
music. We had, oh my God.
I didn't hear a bunch of either. I didn't West Indian, Caribbean music. I didn't know a lot of West Indians.
You didn't know Gonna Give It All to Me, girl. Gonna give it. You didn't know that song.
I'm from Philly. So there's a difference. There's a huge difference. Culturally, what New York has, which is why the atmosphere was electric and was able to birth hip hop as a culture. It couldn't be birthed anyplace else because we didn't have the diversity. Those people that want to say the Latinos were not there, liars. Those people that want to say the white people were not there, liars. The Asians weren't there, liars. It was everybody in New York. Now, granted, it is a black and brown, ethos, right? But they was welcoming everybody, because if I see the pictures of Latin Quarters, the Fevers, it was all kinds of people there.
And
right?
There's so many good stories, Nikki. I've seen so many good stories of people from so many different walks of life that were actually in those places. Not people that, just lived through the YouTubes. Like, literally, I was like, oh my God, that's his story. He lived here, and then his parents left, and then so he was doing hip hop, and he was at the Fever, and when you see
this is what the Universal Hip Hop Music Museum
is doing. Oh my God, applaud to the museum, applaud to them, because I'm excited for everyone that gets to experience it, and it's so much information that's gonna.
Yeah, we need to talk to you about donating stuff.
It's so much information.
Nah, like if you got something from, like, this is what we would really like. You got the outfit that you had from the video shoot for Ladies in the House?
No, I do not. I wish I did.
You got the rhyme book? You got anything from
I
that?
didn't need a book. No.
You freestyle?
I wrote half of it on a piece of paper and the rest in my head.
And see, and those are the things they're looking for.
Yeah, it's not a long rhyme. It was just the beat playing over and over again. And when we did it, I didn't know who was going to be on the song when I got there, because I had done a song with Cat with a bunch of guys. And so the way he brought it to me, I was also a full-time college student and I had a full-time job. So when I came in that particular day, the way he brought it to me was, oh, I wanted you to get on this record with a bunch of awesome girls. I loved what you did with the guys. So because of that, I want you to do something with girls. Because I did with totally guys. Yeah, I mean, he was amazing. He was so sweet to me. Treated me really, really good. And just the fact that somebody could think of you in a highlight. Like I said, like we both said, before you even get there, they're already thinking of you and figuring out ways to include you. When he brought it to me, he already figured out a way to include me. And I don't even know if it's because of what I did with the guys that made him say, I want to do it with girls. But he did something with all girls. And so because of that, it was like, you don't know who's going to be on it. They just started coming in. And it was all love from there. So we had
maybe that was just God.
Yeah, absolutely. What is not God? And I want to give you your vision word. I want to give you, Nikki, your vision word. Your vision word for tonight is grace, because I see your grace. I see it everywhere. And it's for every letter in the word grace, there's goodness in you, resilience, you're aware, you're caring, and you're evolving. And I see your grace. That is your vision word. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for everything that you are and everything you're going to be, because I love you.
You give life, even in your intellectual room. You give life to so many women. YAAYYOU. I remember YAAYYOU. Let me see. You started YAAYYOU, I want to say 2006, 2007.
I started the blogazine in 2007. I sure did. It had over 2 million views. It had over 2 million views before I moved along to actually doing the audio album. And from the audio album, it birthed the meetups, which your excellent daughter, your amazing daughter, actually attended one of the meetups. And I would always do sponsored events for people that felt that they wanted my energy on their friends or family or their coworkers, which I still do, but the pandemic had slowed that down. So I was able to come up with the YAAYYOU Zoom toast, because it was something that was happening to celebrate me. And I didn't want to just celebrate me. I wanted to celebrate other people. So that's
why I love you. And like I've been watching you. I've always watched you. So it's an honor for me. And thank you for, the grace. It's so funny. I found my first gray hair today. Me and Greg was like, well, you got one. I was like, I got one. And so prayerfully and gracefully comes in, and I can be a part of some silver.
And your word is great. Look at that. See how it's all just wrapping itself up.
Hey, everyone. This is Nikki Duncan Smith from allhiphop.com, also from the Universal Hip Hop Museum, where we are the record of hip hop culture. And I am shouting out my girl Marcella Precise for taking the time out of her day to toast me with her YAAYYOU toast. Girl, you keep doing this kind of stuff. Essence ain't got nothing on you. I'm gonna speak that into your life right now. They're about to tap you and do something really amazing with you. I love you, sis.
Oh, I love you too, Nikki.